Hey guys, it's Maria Park with Approach the Nerd. And this week I am teaming up with my boy Eloy over at the Turnout, where we are going to talk everything Charmed. What we thought about season 3, episode 1's premiere, what our theories are about the series, and just a lot of crazy Charm talk. We split our video into two, so the first half is here, the second half is there, but technically you can watch them out of order and you'll still know what's going on. But yeah, I will link his channel below and let's get to it. Hey guys, my name is Maria Park with Approach the Nerd.
And welcome to the Turnout. I am your host, Eloy.
And today we are talking about Charmed Season 3, Episode 1. We're going to recap it and we're going to give you our favorite theories for what's happening so far, even though it's only been one episode.
I think a lot to go off of just one episode.
Yeah.
Also, I'm just so super excited that Charmed is back in the first place. Like, it's just... oh my God, it's so good. Like, I even said this in my review. I'm like, I don't know if that is why I enjoyed this episode so much, or is this episode just really that good? Or I don't know what it is, but I'm just very happy that Charmed is back.
I think it was good, and it's been away for so long, which is pretty good because this technically is not season 3. It is the tail end of season 2 that we didn't get because of COVID. So we technically have not started season 3, which I think is very interesting.
Well, here's kind of what I'm hoping is that it's not going to have a clear break. I hope it's not 3 episodes to finish off that storyline and then a clean break and then we start a new one. I'm really hoping that they try to weave the current story into an ongoing next story. So in my mind, I'm hoping that this really is the first episode of a 3rd season and not the last episodes of last season before we get into a new thing.
I agree with that. I know they've introduced a few new characters too, so we'll talk about that later. But I'm hoping, like what you said, I hope everything weaves in organically. So I kind of feel like whatever the effects are with the faction and Viv and her plan, that actually has a direct effect on what happens with the rest of season 3. So
exactly, that's the hope.
That is the hope. But did you catch the boo-boo? I like doing this. I love finding boo-boos. It's my thing. So the boo-boo, the Charm boo-boo is in the season 3 trailer, where we now know it was Swan who was looking at her phone. You see Macy's picture, but it said Macy Vaughn in the trailer. I even went back after I did my review and checked. It said Macy Vaughn. And then when they aired the episode, it said Macy Flores. And in my mind, I'm wondering, when in season 2 did we ever hear them say their last name was Flores? Do you remember this?
Well, I don't think I ever heard that.
I mean, as far as I know, they didn't have a last name.
Exactly. Last name. Well, as soon as they were dead and they had taken on new identities, I mean, that's a whole conversation, because somebody was just like, hey, doing a video about her, isn't that going to alert the people to know that they're alive? And I'm like, how did Maggie get a job?
Media. Yeah, it's like it was going viral and he offered money. Nothing is going to go viral that's not $1 million. It's like, that picture looks really, really distinct. And her features are very familiar. Is that Macy? Oh, and her name is even Macy. But no, it can't be our Macy, because her last name is Flores. No, I call BS on that. No. But to be fair, come on, Eloy, we've had to suspend our disbelief.
You have to.
Because they don't have social security cards. They don't have driver's license. How are they working? Or how is Maggie working? How are they getting food? How are they paying for things? I don't understand.
I think for me, I actually liked the idea of the YouTube, video that went viral offering $1 million. I think that that's diabolically evil and wonderful. And then it didn't go anywhere. It was just a thing that they were like, hey, I can't believe he did that. And then it didn't matter in the end that he had done that. I was expecting that to be a huge plot point, because that is not a small thing.
Well, maybe he only did it on the Safe Space network, so only employees of Safe Space saw it.
So Swan is looking for that $1 million.
Swan's like, yeah, and I introduced them. Damn, cash cow. So yeah, I thought that was really funny though. But yeah, I mean, I thought that too. I didn't stress on it a lot because again, after my big thing last year, when I was talking about the lack of a social security card, therefore, how can you get employment? I understood now that Charm operates on a different level. in the writer's room that the rest of us do. So,
I mean, no, so I understand the suspension of disbelief with like the small detail things, but again, like offering $1 million and making the video go, that's not a small detail thing. You put it up front. It was the first thing we see, and then it doesn't go anywhere.
Yep.
Like, so that's the thing that really irked me about it. Unless something happens in the next episode, because again, we are literally talking about one episode. We're talking 42 minutes is all we have to talk about today.
This is very true.
So
and we don't know the repercussions of anything that Julia does. So that's very true. It could actually go somewhere, but I don't know. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say probably not. I'm like, once that idea is gone, it's gone. Like, Julian is now on our side, so therefore we no longer need the social media post.
Exactly.
All right, so we had that post, and then we jump into the episode, and remember the tail end. The very end, I think, actually the last scene, I believe, of last season is where Harry is asking Maggie to use her powers to take his feelings for Macy away.
Yes.
And after I was mentally stabbing him in my mind, so many thoughts came into my head, and I love that they played it out in this episode, because I think my first initial reaction was the girl literally had these powers for like 2 days. I mean, she doesn't know what she's doing.
What did you even do? Wait a minute.
And Harry should know better. You're a white lighter. You have to understand that this is not the way you do these things.
Exactly.
No. So I thought it was interesting that at first I really thought that we weren't going to go back to that, because how they started the episode, and they're just looking at the video and you see Harry and everybody's like trying to figure out what to do. I thought they were just going to blow over it like that didn't happen at the end of the last season. Yeah. But then you see him whispering to Maggie in the hallway, and Macy's peeking around, which I think is really funny.
So this is where my black side comes out a bit, because then like Macy's just like, so what were you talking about with Maggie? And if I was Harry, I would have been like, well, I was having a deep conversation with her about minding my own damn business.
And then she's like, I don't have earrings on, but like, explain how this works. She may have only been my sister for a year or two now, but let me explain how this doesn't go down. You, my man. we don't share. The sisterhood may be, no, we share a book and powers, and we share a mission. We don't share men. Well, with Mel, that's not really a problem, but you know what I'm saying.
There was any, I didn't get that feel.
It wasn't. I don't
think she was like that. I think she was just more suspicious, like, what could they be talking about? They're keeping it a secret from me.
Yeah.
And it's just like, with the number of secrets that these people have kept from each other for all these episodes, it's just like, she just can't let this one go. Just this one is the one that they can't let go for some reason. Yeah. So she harped on it throughout the episode. He finally gave in and talked about it, which I thought was great, actually. As much as I would have resisted myself, I would have been like, it has nothing to do with you. So, on my face.
Well, I mean, think about the evolution of Macy, though. I mean, she went from not even considering that to be a thing, because, ew, that's our white lighter, to now I'm confused with my feelings. Do I like Julian or do I like Harry? Or, we're just better off as friends because, you're our white lighter and we're the charm ones and we don't have our powers. We need to focus on how we're going to get our powers back too. Let's screw each other in my room to, I love you. Yeah. What's going on? Why aren't you giving me love back? Like, evolution. And Harry's just like, to me, Harry really hasn't changed. Harry's has had the same mode the entire time. He gets very panicky about his feelings and his duty, and it's just what he is. That's his entire personality.
He's only half a person. Like, that's the part of the personality that he kept. Jimmy got all the good things. And the excitement and the dangerousness. Like, Harry's just like, the Boy Scout part of it.
Well, I love that you said that because, okay, so after this little secret discussion that he didn't tell Macy about, then they're talking about going to Diagon Alley. Yes. That's what we're calling it, Diagon Alley. Remember when he's like, well, we can't use our money down there, which first of all, you don't have any money because nobody has a job, but that's fine. Whatever. But he instantly knew where this necklace was. Harry knew where the necklace was hidden. He went and got it, and he was like, "We can use this." That's slick. That is slick.
Like, no, you are correct, because like it wasn't like she said, "Do I have anything that's expensive? Let me see." He's like, "This one? You mean
Yep, he went and got it himself.
You did not have because I didn't give it to you."
Yeah. And then he gives it, she takes it, and then she's like, "Well, it's for a good cause." And then he smiles. He does this little smirk, and I'm like, diabolical. Like, you knew.
That was good.
Yep. But then you have to put in your head, not only 5 or 6 minutes before, he's still trying to get his feelings for her erased, but he's like, "Before I erase these feelings, I'm gonna make Julian don't get you either."
Well, and I guess I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but then there was a conversation between Macy and Julian near the end where he's just like, "Was any of it real?" And she's like, because you also have to think about, that's the whole thing. That's actually why I like Julian as a character, is because I called it from the very beginning. I'm like, it's his aunt who's the big bad, and he is just a patsy. He's just the one with the money. Like, she doesn't have the money, so she's convinced. And I said this episodes before it was actually revealed.
Yeah, I said that too. I also said that he knew about it, and I was absolutely correct, because everyone was like, "No, Julian's the sweet one. He just wants to save the world." I'm like, no. Like, no, there's no way he doesn't know what's going on with his cash. I'm like,
because of the placement in the series when he was introduced.
Yep.
There was no reason to introduce yet another new character at that point, unless it was going to be the new big bad. And like I said, like, I like that character because in the end, he's not the big bad. He was the red herring. And I really like him because his whole thing was kind of what Jimmy was saying, was like, his whole thing is purpose. Like, oh, every villain is the hero of their story. So he is trying to do everything he can to save his sister. He is the good guy. He is a good person who's just willing to do terrible things.
He's doing very morally challenging things to save his sister's life and potentially
also, he's a billionaire, world. So he's Batman. That's what I'm saying, is that Julian is Batman. So.
Well, we all know Batman doesn't have any issues whatsoever. But no, I do agree with that. I think the whole thing too with Julian is that I think he allows himself to not be aware of what Viv's doing, because it makes his conscience clearer in a way. Not like he's doing that intentionally. I think the moment he realizes just how morally corrupt his aunt is, and that's literally his last family member. That's how I'm seeing it. I don't think they have any other family, because the parents are.
They haven't really said it, but yeah,
they haven't really said it. But if Aunt Viv is his only familial connection, I think he doesn't want to see it because of that. Because then he's all alone.
I also think that it depends, right? Because if it's if Aunt Viv, like, all of the interactions between him and Aunt Viv, and I hate calling her Aunt Viv. I said this,
I know, because of Fresh Prince. I know.
It's Fresh Prince for me. But his aunt and him, anytime that they're in a scene, they are either nice to each other and actually like familial, or she is kind of pressuring him into making decisions, but for the good of his sister.
Yeah.
So when she's in the room with him, she's not evil, right? It's like, it's that sort of thing. So it's hard to say, like, whether she's evil and he doesn't see it. It could just be that she is just that manipulative, that she just really knows how to push his buttons and not say anything to give herself away whenever she's around him. I mean,
I do think though, in some, like, when he see her so willing to kill these magical creatures and things, and the lengths she's willing to go to, on some level you have to start gaslighting. Because I mean, even with on a personal level with my dad, I know my dad does some shady stuff, and I used to gaslight for him all the time, but then reality sunk in one day, and it was like, wait a minute, this isn't normal. So it's like, he's a very intelligent man. At some point, his own moral compass has to say, wait a minute, this isn't right, and you're completely okay with this, and I don't like it.
Because, there was a point that I made in my review that was Siren's tongue, right? So
I think I know where you're going with that. I have the same review. Go ahead and say it.
It's totally okay to go to the black market and have body parts chopped off of a siren, but it's not okay for Julian to be doing what he's doing in order to save his sister. Like, that just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, especially in season 1. How many magical creatures did they try to save that were trying to kill them because they didn't want to? They were like, oh, they're part of the magical community. We don't, they're living beings. We don't want to hurt them. And then even when Macy was like so on board, but just like, oh, we're gonna go and get a fresh siren's tongue. Fresh means recently cut out. Like,
well, and that's the thing about it. So I think what it is what's happening right now, I think, with the Charmed series is that they're taking a lot of these mythological creatures and they're kind of reducing them to monster status.
Yeah,
right?
They're definitely dehumanizing them
unless they're demons, right? Demons can walk around and do stuff, but anything that's not just straight up demon, straight up witch is just a magical creature and you can do whatever you want with it. Like, every myth about a siren is that they are women. Like, they are people who just so happen to lure people in and murder them and make them drown and all that stuff. I mean, there's a whole thing. Like, they're terrible, but they're still people, right? Yeah. Like,
and then in the Charm universe, I don't remember in the OG Charmed if every siren was considered evil or if there were just like factions that were considered evil. I don't know how this plays in this one either, because the rules of the magical world in this version of Charmed are very scattered. Like, they're literally all over the place. So I don't know, like, what, just like, if we see one siren that's just evil, we just assume every siren is like that, and that may not be the case. Right. So yeah, I mean, it's sad that fresh siren tongue is like a delicacy apparently, and like everybody needs it, and it's just really and the supply, like, to get a supply of a fresh siren's tongue is very problematic. That's problematic.
There's a lot of like trafficking going around, especially since these are people and not just like little creatures you can keep in a box or whatever. But also it's weird. It's just weird the way that they're approaching magical creatures in general in the show. And I've said this, I think I said this in my big review about the ethics of Charmed, as I'm like, they had this whole scene purposefully to set up this gray area with demons where like there's this bestial Chiron queen, and they learn that, all you have to do is show it some deference and it will bow back to you and leave you the hell alone. So like, you don't have to just murder something because it's scary, so but then they introduce that and then they just throw it away. Like, it's just
well, I think and remember in season 1 we saw a lot. There was an episode with Medusa where they realized that she was, because in mythology Medusa was raped, and that's why, and then she got cursed. Which is kind of messed up. You don't curse the rape victim, but she got cursed.
Story is sad.
So that's why she was a Gorgon. She got cursed, and when Macy figured out that she was just a woman who was abused and a victim, they were able to pretty much, I don't want to say save her, but they were able to prevent her from doing more harm. Right. And they, it was that whole, empathy thing that I loved so much in season 1. And I feel like it is gone in season 3 so far. Far. I'm saying so far. This is only episode 1. It's just the siren tongue.
So
the siren. Yeah, it was. In season 2, I look at season 2 a certain way. It introduced us to some amazing characters. There were a few stories that we liked, but the girls were never together. So, I mean, there were just a bunch of side stories while we were waiting for a season. That's literally what season 2 was to me.
That also kind of continued in this episode, though.
Yeah, so. It did. It did. I'll give you that. But at least they started off together now. They were all in the house and they all had wine together at the end. Sometimes we didn't get that in the episodes. So. Yeah, so we're getting better. People are coming home. It's like a Sims 4 adventure. All right, so let's talk about. We already talked about a little bit of the Diagon Alley experience. I think I was joking with you about I love the gentleman that was trying to hustle Harry out of his shoes. And Harry immediately is like, "You want our souls? You want to walk around in our bodies for a day?" And he's like, "No, you weirdo." I love that. Like, when he instantly became like the most aggressive person in Diagon Alley.
Exactly.
But I did like that scene. But what really bothered me, not really bothered me, but was interesting to me is another boo-boo is when they were like getting ready to teleport.
Yes.
Yeah, and Harry was like, well, the stench, it's very rancid there. And so they're like pulling up, they're all like pulling their stuff up and it's just like this. And then they teleport and nothing. Like they literally walk around, and I think it's like they walk around and they cut to another scene, and then you see them continuously walking. Then they're like, "Oh, you're right about the smell." I'm like, what?
Well, see, and what I thought it was going to be was that was going to be an excuse for them to
Wear a
observe
mask.
social distancing and wear masks to incorporate more actors. But I think what ended up happening, I mean, I don't know if something fell through, or maybe there was a plague that went through production or whatever, and they had to cut some people. But like,
There were no extras in there.
there were no extras. It was like, and honestly, extras was exactly what that needed to make it feel alive and like it was a real set piece to the universe. And having it have nobody there, and it's just like, but they can see us, and it's just like, oh, I mean, okay.
And they showed the eyes, yeah.
I mean, like, but again, it's like you have to give them some leeway. You know,
because a pandemic is a very hard thing to shoot around. So
exactly.
I'll give them that.
I can't fault them for it, but I wish that they were just a little bit more consistent with the mask thing, because the mask thing gave again, it's one of those things like it created this idea of what was about to happen, and then it just was not executed.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they could have got like some stock footage and like CG some people in there and just like walking through or something like that. I mean, they did that in Harry Potter, so why not? But yeah, that was very challenging. But you know, pandemic, what can you do? But I do love the scene where the guy runs off and then, you know, Macy hits him and he's just like, I'm not playing with you. And he's like, she's not playing. I love the dynamic with Hasty.
I really liked that scene, but it was odd. And I think it's because I'm expecting like, cause I know who Macy's dad is. Like Macy's dad is like, that's Gunn from Angel. Like he's from
Dexter. Yeah.
So like if I'm seeing Macy kind of tap into that a little bit, she should be like, dude, I ain't playing with you. Like, but obviously with you know the Madeline man talk being from the UK and all of that stuff, she's like, and I am not playing with you. You know, it was like, okay, like she almost got there. Just
look, it's very hard to do English and British voices. I'm just saying. My mother was from Scotland, and they're very polite. And sometimes you just got to put yourself out there and just say things. And unfortunately, no one in England is going around saying, "Excuse me, but I'm not playing with you." I'm like, are that? You know what though? Maybe in Northern London. I'm just saying.
It might be.
They might be. But no, I do get what you're saying. She should have.
I like the writing. I think that she just needed a little bit more hood to like deliver the line. And Macy's probably not hood, and so it makes sense.
She has a PhD. She's not hood.
More hood, and it would have been great. It would have been like, I ain't playing with you. Like if she flexed on him too, that would be awesome. You know, like that would have been amazing.
No, you know, I say that, but you know what? There are a lot of people that have PhDs and they're from the hood and probably never lose the hood.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
So, but I just don't think Macy is one of them. Like, no.
Well, because she was raised more, because we learned that from the kind of flashback episodes. She was raised a little bit more affluent, you know, in that kind of area. So she wasn't probably like.
Dexter had money because she went to a very good school. So yeah, he had money. So yeah.
I'm sure they had money because, you know, the Veras were witches. They could just summon money. Like, I mean, come on.
Well, that may not be true because I don't think they have money right now.
Well, maybe that's what I'm saying though, is like, you ever seen a poor witch on the show? No, because they got magic. That's just how that works.
That's true. Well, I mean, an OG charm, I remember Piper was having problems paying the mortgage on the house, and they were almost going to lose the house, and they had to take a mortgage out and stuff, second mortgage to pay the first mortgage, and then her club was like going under. So they do. I think they do. I think personal gain prevents them from using it on themselves. So they can't. Yeah. So they're just as messed up as the rest of us financially. They're living check to check.
So just to discuss this, I feel like personal gain would be like if you're okay to make yourself rich, right? That would be casting a spell for personal gain. But like, that's like saying like, if I'm starving, it would be personal gain for me to summon some food so I could eat. You know, it's just like, well, no, like if you're starving, magic should allow, like there should be that loophole of like, no, I seriously need this. You know, like
yeah, they make it seem like even if you're dying from thirst in the desert, you can't summon water. That they literally make it seem like it's just that,
so
punishing for you.
Well, also then, but then because then what that does is it also that just would open up a whole conversation about privilege, you know, because then like if you're, you know, if you have like a lot of privilege, you'd be like, oh, this is going to be the worst thing in my life if I don't get into that Ivy League school. I'm going to cast a spell to get me in because my life would be devastated without it. And then again, you know, there's a witch in the middle of the desert that can't use the magic to get water, and you're using it for that is personal gain. But of course,
or like Sabrina, the teenage witch, changing her outfit in front of the mirror like every 5 minutes. I didn't buy these clothes, I summoned them.
Did she do that in this episode though? Didn't she?
Yeah, well, she did. She used, she did. She used a potion to give them the apocalyptic safari look that they were looking for.
But that's a potion because potions work differently than spells, is what we've learned.
So maybe they can get a potion to win the lottery. I don't know. Like I said, the rules are all over the place now, so I'm confused. I know when Phoebe was going to win the lottery, her premonition power, she gave it to an older couple in the OG charm. So I don't know what would happen if Maggie did that. You know, so I don't know. I don't even know if Maggie still has premonitions anymore since she now is a, Inception witch.
What I will say about this episode is that I don't know if anybody has any powers except for Maggie's emotional control, because that's the only power that got used in this episode.
Well, Mel did threaten to melt Jimmy.
But she didn't actually do it. But there was a scene that actually a commenter of my review told me, and I was like, whoa, thank you for pointing that out. But when the soldiers were kind of going to come rush into the hospital room and they had seconds to go, why didn't Macy just hold the door with her telekinesis? Just hold it back for just 30 seconds.
I thought about that, but see, I had a bigger problem with that scene because we've seen her use this machine in the past when Harry was sick and she was analyzing the blood. Why the hell didn't you just take the machine and teleport with it? You got the blood sample in it. Oh, they're coming. Let me touch this machine and let us teleport back to the manor.
No, I 100% was agreeing with you on that. And then I was thinking, I guess it depends on the power source for the thing. So, because if the power source is, if it's plugged in and you teleport away with it, then it's going to be unplugged, and then it might lose the data that it was analyzing. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
But as long as the blood sample is not contaminated, which it shouldn't be, just plug it back in and start over. I mean, they do that with blood changing machines when they change your RH factor. Why can't they do that with? No, they just needed a reason for us to have a panic attack while the guards are coming in.
No, because you're right. For all of that, what they could have done is just gone to the room, gotten the blood sample, and then grabbed the machine and teleport back
before they even started the process. With Julian in the room. That way, this is your sister's blood. This is your aunt's machine. Let's stick it in this hole and see what happens. I'm like, why? Why?
No, that's a good scene. But if the scene was going to play out the way it did, still, why didn't Macy use her telekinesis to just hold the door for 30 more seconds? That could have been a thing that saved, the day in the end. They ended up getting it in the end, so it didn't really matter anyway. But just saying, it just seemed like they had forgotten that they were writing an episode about witches that had powers in this episode.
And I think that's also why they didn't have Julian go back and do it, because she could have said, hey, I think the sedative is in your sister's blood, so maybe you need to go test for it, because him being there and being monitored by the camera wouldn't be a thing for the aunt because he sees his sister all the time.
That's a really good idea too.
It wouldn't have looked as suspicious. And then if he ran the test and he was like, well, he could have just come up with an excuse and say, well, Aunt, the doctor told me she's not getting better and she hasn't woken up. So I was just going to run some tests on my own because, I like science and I'm going to figure out if I can figure out why my sister's not waking up, if I can find an anomaly. I was just doing some research. And then you know what I found? I found this sedative in her blood. Do you know how I got there? Just play that crap, play dumb, But no, they didn't think because see, we're not writing the show. Like if we were writing the show, this wouldn't be happening.
If we were writing the show, I don't think we would be in this particular predicament.
No.
That we
Well,
even come up with this.
Absolutely not. And when we talk about Jimmy, that's really going to reflect because I know what I'm going to talk about with Jimmy.
Oh yeah. And by the way, for anybody who's watching, we are both screenwriters. So if anybody wants, I'm just saying, like
we got
if you guys want a sample, we will get together and we will write you a charmed episode.
Seriously, we love the show. We love the characters. We will get them out of this mess. We will do it. We got this. We got this. All right. So let's talk about something not plot heavy. I didn't talk about this because I, as a biracial female, I have naturally curly hair.
Okay.
And so I know somebody commented on my thing that Maggie's hair looked like she stuck her finger in a socket.
No. You are one. I don't. Okay, I am the least fashion conscious person ever, and I don't talk about how people look because I know, hey, a glass house and stones and whatnot, right? But I will tell you, when I did my review for it, I was like, what is up with Maggie's hair? What is up with her hair?
I think I did watch your review, so I do remember seeing that. I didn't put it together because I'm used to humidity. So like I flat iron my hair. My hair is curly as hell. I will pop a picture down, guys. You can see how curly my hair is. But I live in the South and curly plus humidity equals hell no. What could be happening, because she has the same mix as me. I think she's Native American, Black, and white, and I'm Scottish, Black, and Native American. I feel like her hair grew. And unfortunately, when you are a woman of color in general with curly hair, whether you got T, 2C, 3C, 4B, ZZ, whatever for you, whatever your curl flavor is, once it starts to grow, you're not stopping that train. I'm like, you're not stopping it. Where they messed up is they didn't put it up. When she was having that hair day, they should have put her hair up because they did too many scenes with her hair like that.
Mel had her hair up. And Matt and Macy had her hair back, not up, but back. Yeah. And like it was just in stark contrast to the way that they normally present themselves. Because otherwise, if Maggie just always looked like that, it wouldn't be a thing, right? It's because it was so out of place for that character.
Her clothes too. It looked like they aged her, like she was dressing like someone's aunt. Yeah, like, it's really weird. She usually has on very hip, very sexy looking clothes, and this one's like, I'm going to run for Congress, or work at the library. I don't know.
I didn't notice it till the end, and then I went back and I'm like, oh, it really was like that through the whole episode. But I only really noticed it at the end because she was again back with everybody, and they were cutting
the wine scene. Yeah. It was really apparent when they were at the table. Yeah, her hair was
directly
very big.
Compared to each other with cutscenes, cutting back and forth. It's like, oh, it's so in your face.
Yeah. And this tells us, Eloy, one of two things. Number one, the humidity got to her, and unfortunately, her blackness went out. Happens to me all the time. Or number two, whoever they hired to do her hair is new, and she don't know what the F she's doing.
Or they didn't hire anybody. Maybe they were all doing their own makeup and stuff. Who knows?
No, I think she's been around the block enough to do her own hair. They should have let her do her own hair. That's what it should have happened. It's like Karen, go home.
I'm just imagining her next tweet is just like, I'm so excited about this episode coming out and nobody will shut up about my hair.
Yeah, hopefully that won't be a viral moment.
We still love you.
We love you. Hey, like I said, I understand the struggle. It is real. So I'm not throwing anything at a glass house because my glass house has the same problems. So I got you. But no, so let's talk about Mel, because I love Mel. Mel is my favorite character. She is my baby, and she's the most shafted person. I hate how much she gets shafted in this series.
Yeah. I think that's going to start coming around.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. But okay, I'll get to Abby in a minute. Let's talk about her issues. She's so angry, which is it's such a contrast for how pro-witch she was in season 2. It almost sounded like in this episode she was tired of being a witch. And she's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to live like other people. Everybody else has a life. We're stuck in here. And I'm like, oh, Ruby's getting to you, girl. She was upset. She was upset. She was so upset. She was ready to take on Jimmy in the attic.
Yeah.
When they were interrogating, he's like, he was like, take the shield down and we'll see who's more powerful. She's like, all right, let's go. Like,
that reminds me of like the Avengers, like, put your suit on, let's go. Put your suit on, let's do this, let's see. So I agree. I think what they were trying to do with Mel was to possibly use the witchness protection as an allegory to quarantine. And how she's feeling very stir crazy. And I think a lot of us are feeling the same way, so we can relate to the way that Mel is feeling. And also the fact that, not only is she having to do all of this stuff, but remember what her greatest, complaint was about, the one that she had to reveal, otherwise they were all going to die, when they opened up the book. And it was like, her thing was, I don't want to have to take care of everybody, even though that's what she just did all the time. Yeah. So, and like people have told her, don't do it. And she would still do it, but then complain about it because like, I have to do it. So I think honestly, she's just like, no, you're right. I've been doing that myself. So really, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I'm kind of done. And I think she has every right to feel that.
Yeah.
Way.
And I feel so bad. I said this in my interview. So like, if you look at her sisters, they both had 2 guys. A piece that would have basically done anything, even though Parker went about it in a very shady way, a little bit evil. He still, even now, he became human for her, for Maggie. And Jordan will jump through fire and has no powers right now of his own and will do anything. He is literally Maggie's lapdog. And the same with Harry for Macy. And then we had Gavin, and Gavin was the same way. He, yes, he sacrificed himself to save everyone, but I mean, Macy is what made him that way.
Macy was a big part of that.
Yeah. So they both had these experiences, and it's like first we had Nico. She couldn't tell Nico who she was. So, she had to erase her memory. Unfortunately, screw up her own timeline. So she never got the job, never finished grad school, was a bartender. So now she has no career, no woman. Then she meets Jada, Sisters Arcadia. And she ends up running off because she's scared of Fiona and the Source. So we don't see Jada anymore. Kat was only there to get the store, so we can get the store from her. That's literally why Kat was there. They had like a 5-minute relationship, so Mel could get the store that they never go to anymore. And then, and now we have Ruby, who's like, I started out as a one-night stand to a booty call to, I would like to have a relationship with you, but even though we're both witches and that should work out, I don't want to be a witch.
Yeah.
So I guess we got problems.
Here's a weird thing about Kat is I feel that Kat and Ruby are the same character, and I feel like the actress for Kat was probably like, nah, I'm good. Can I get out of this, because you guys aren't even doing So they're like, oh crap, we have to write up another character to finish the storyline that we were going to do with Kat. So I honestly feel like Ruby is just an extension of Kat. They even cast like an actress that was not exactly the same looking, but similar in that same kind of genre.
Definitely, especially personality wise, I definitely had some
like personality wise, and just kind of in general look, and fashion and whatnot. So I feel like they're kind of the same character, even though they ended up being 2 characters. But you're right, like, and honestly, it's because like the connection to Ruby, I think, happened a little fast, in my opinion. But anyway, that's a whole other.
Well, I feel like mostly all of them were rebounds after Nico. Right. And although I did like her with Jada, I'm not gonna lie, I thought they were very cool together. But Nico was my heart. But I really want her with Abigail. And I know people agree with me, but there's some people that are like, you're crazy. But I really feel like Abigail and Mel could really help each other. Yeah. Because Abigail needs a moral compass. She needs a direction. The girl was sitting in her apartment, not only drinking, she was eating cold pizza. I mean, that is pathetic. Abigail right now, that was pathetic. I felt so bad for Abigail. And Mel is just not happy. And I feel like, I know there's going to be scenes more with Ruby because we have to resolve the whole Ruby relationship, because we didn't see them actually break up. We saw them have a conversation where they differed. So we don't know what happened with that. I mean, it's implied that they broke up, but I don't think we saw the last of Ruby, especially since on Instagram, Mel's Instagram, she actually shows them together in another scene that we've never seen. So I think that we are going to see more scenes with Ruby, which,
I feel like if I didn't see Ruby anymore, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ruby's gorgeous, and I think she's a great actress. I just don't want her with Mel. I want Abigail with Mel because I think there's more chemistry with them. Like, it's not, to me, and I don't want them to just get together immediately. I want it to be a thing where they like organically eventually realize, hey, I actually want to go out with you. I want to go out with you. I don't want it to be like the whole Macy thing, even though I love Macy or Hasty. I love Hasty, but Harry was gaga, I think, from episode 2 of season 1. Be real. I mean, he was like, I'm all in, but she's not there yet. So I'm gonna wait and reveal that during the season finale. Well, only she'll know it because we was imply it because she heard it in my head when she was the source.
What I will say is, I don't think that you're crazy because I'm still for Abigail, in my opinion.
Really?
Because I thought that, you know, the whole like dark side, light side, and they kind of really complemented each other, you know, that opposites attract sort of thing. Like, honestly, every scene that they were in together, I was like, they're really good together. Like, and they help each other out. And like, kind of the same way that you're like, she would balance out Mel, I think she would probably balance out Harry too. That's probably a moot point now that Hasty is a thing and they're actually.
Well, and plus, I think it would have been really cool to see him struggle with his dark side. But now that he's split into 2 people, it would be like Abigail, Jimmy, Harry, and she would be down with that because we know she likes sleeping with 2 people at one time. Yeah. But now, I mean, I do like that. There in season 2, there's a few scenes that we saw with her and Mel, like when they were trapped in the apartment, and Mel even made the point of saying, "You can just, teleport out of here whenever," and she's like, "And leave you behind. Don't tempt me." She purposely stayed to help Mel get out of her apartment, just like when they were both down in the prison. She came back and risked her own life. And actually, they both got caught and were going to die to save Mel. So, like, she does things like that. And I just think it's really cool because the amazing, when you watch her in the scene with Macy, it is very apparent that Macy can't stand Abigail. And Macy does not pretend. She's like, I don't like you. You were trash. Maggie's kind of like in between. She doesn't like her because of what she did with Parker. She held him hostage or in the dungeon, even though Parker's done some shady things too. Maggie's holding a grudge, but Mel's kind of like in between. She's like, well, yeah, you're kind of bad, but I see the good in you, and nobody says that to her. And like the scene when they were at the bar, they were having a drink together. It really looked like they were bonding, and I think Abigail freaked out and left. She's like, wait a minute, I don't want to be that.
I think it's weird though, because I feel like they pushed that really heavily at the end of the second season. Like the whole like, oh, I notice now that they're getting along. If you look back, every interaction that they've ever had is, well, what do you need from me to help? And the answer from Mel would be like, well, you're a demon, so just shut up and I don't care. And it's interesting to see how it evolved over time. And that is to say that I don't know if it actually did. I think it was, they realized at a certain point that they were kind of writing her as a bigot, and they were like, oh, we should probably not do that anymore.
Well, remember the first scene she saw when Abigail was in the bed with the 2 girls? At first, she does not react like, ew. At first, she's like, hey. And then she's like, oh, this is bad. So that's how I knew Mel was like, okay, I'm not blind. I think that Mel doesn't like the fact that she's attracted to somebody that's dark, because what does that say about her? Because at the end of the day, Mel was an activist. She's a feminist. She's all pro everything good and witch. And so when she's on the happy go, even in the last episode, in the season finale, she even says, you can be good. You can have you ever just thought of just going to the witch side, basically, which is the right side to her. So she still has that, prejudice in her. Yeah. She's just attracted to her because Abby's hot. I mean,
yes,
Abby's hot, and Mel's not blind.
Well, I mean, and that's the problem, right? Is like, if we were to like seriously consider Abby and Mel, Abamel, is that what we're calling it now?
There's so many names. There's so many ship names. But I like Abamel.
If we're to consider that, it's almost like you'd have to think of it like 2 people of like sparring religions, right? Or sparring political parties or whatever, deciding to be together. Like, they could get together, but like if that topic ever came up, it would just be explosive, So like, I think honestly, Mel's hatred of anything demon, I think, would likely end up destroying that relationship. So to me, I think it's better to just leave it alone, because if the relationship gets destroyed, then Abigail has to leave the show, because she's not a charmed one. It's not, her name is not in the title. She is not one of the charmed people. So if there's a fight between characters, she has to leave the show, and I want her to stay on the show.
No, I want her to stay. I think introducing her sister, which we'll get to in a second, is actually a good way of doing that. But I don't know. I still feel like in every relationship and in every marriage, you have to learn how to compromise. And see, Mel has never had to compromise. So think about it. The one overbearing and really sad theme of this series in terms of relationships is that the women have no problem cheating. Not one of those sisters had the problem cheating. Like all of them have done it. Even though technically, I mean, I'm gonna throw Macy under the bus. When she ran off with Julian and was doing all the little shady stuff she was doing, she was into Harry. They were talking to each other, and she still went and slept with another man. So, and don't get me started with Maggie and Parker.
Well, but there's certain things, like, you know, for instance, we were on a break, you know, like that, you know, the whole long thing. Like if you have not had the conversation that you are together, then it is not technically cheating. It's emotionally cheating. It's not technically cheating.
Well, with Macy though, they had, you know, that was right after Harry had come out and said, "I love you." And then she's like, "And now I'm going to go to this portal to Colorado." And I'm like, okay. But think about Mel and Nico. Nico became Mel's girlfriend because she cheated with Mel on her fiance.
Yep.
So
that's true.
They're not all on the side of light. So I mean, you know, this is why I have no problem with the moral compasses here, because there's very little. I mean, look at Mama. Mama cheated on Ray with Dexter repeatedly. Repeatedly.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, Maggie wouldn't be there if she hadn't. I'm just saying.
Exactly. Well,
so
I mean, so I mean, yes, definitely you're correct. But I feel though that, like, again, I think that if you were to try and pair them, and if we're saying that a compromise is what would solve that issue, do you really think that Mel is going to compromise to somebody who thinks that they're better than everybody else? Like, you don't.
Well, no, and see, that's the thing. I think Abigail has to compromise too. These are two characters that I think have to try. And I know. I have to feel like the good we've been seeing from Abigail, besides outside of any relationship, she's been doing good on her own, because she's starting to see that maybe being on the side that Daddy was from isn't that great. And we did learn about her mom. Remember, her mother was the one that kept saying, "You're not, you know, you're half demon, and you're not enough to be a witch, and you're halfy." And you know, she treated her like she had leprosy. Yep. So that's why she initially hates, because Abigail hated herself, and it's fairly obvious. And so when you hate yourself, you become a little narcissistic, and then you try and be grander than you actually feel you are inside. And that is the problem with Abby. Abigail is
both
like
sides of herself. That's the thing. Like, because you know, her mom shamed her for her demon side, and her dad shamed her for her witch side. And then
her dad tried to kill her.
What's
He's
that?
Like, the dad tried to kill her. He's like, "Yeah, breed."
Exactly.
The only reason he didn't do that with Parker is because he figured he was a very good choice for the source. He had no interest in a half, you know, demon, half witch daughter. Right. So yeah.
And that's the thing. So when Abigail was like, when Jordan goes to Abigail in this episode, it's just like, "Oh, I need help with this thing," and she goes, "Yeah, sure. Here's the name." You know, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." She's just straight up helping.
And that was before she even thought to just try and get him to do a favor for her. She was like looking at the book annoyed, like, "All right, fine, here's a name."
Yeah, she was already helping, and then he goes, "Wow, I'm so grateful," and she goes, "How grateful are you?" Like, so the you know, the pettiness and the demony side of her, she didn't even spark it. Like, you know, he shouldn't have said those words, basically.
Yeah, that was kind of like, what can I get out of this? Well, and I mean, to be fair, she could have said, "Let me keep this painting, and then, you know, when the charm ones get on my nerves, I'll just put them in here." But no, instead she said, "I want to get a message to my sister," which when I saw that, I'm like, "Uh-oh, what are we doing?" Like, what's up with this sister? There better not be another freaking Billy sister thing going on, like an OG charm. Would be so mad. I will be so mad. I hated that storyline.
What I will say though is that, did she keep the painting?
I don't know. Well, he did. Remember, he said, "Oh, you're going to keep that," and she didn't really seem to have an interest in it.
Okay.
And the matter of fact, she seemed to have a lot of knowledge about being trapped, and she's like, "You'd be surprised." So I don't think she's interested in things that encase witches anymore.
I feel like Abigail, it's always like a side thing. Like with the Macy, like, can you remove my powers? And she's like, I can totally remove your powers, and then I will take them for myself. But I did the thing you wanted. I just also got something for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I could see it. I could see her.
I could see her, but I don't think she would use it on them. I think she spends so much time helping them, even when she doesn't want to. That it would be more work for her, because somehow she'd be talked into getting them back out, because that's just what would happen. She's like,
if she hadn't helped them as much as she has, she wouldn't be where she's at right now.
This is true, and she knows it. And but she's not even planning revenge. She's just drinking and eating a cold pizza in her apartment. But I can't wait till they're around her again. I think once we see their interactions more, I think we'll have a better scope of what's actually going on with them. But the sister thing, that was like, because that when she's like, I want you to get me a message to my sister, I kept thinking, okay, it can't be Alistair's, because Alistair would have killed her too. I could see her being the mother's daughter with another man.
Yeah. Or it could be an adopted sibling. Like, it could be anything, really.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different options of what it could be. I had said that it would be a Cain child, whether or not he tried to kill it. I mean, he could have a million kids and try to.
Did you say like half leprechaun or something?
Every kid should be half something different, is what I say.
Yeah, well, maybe that's what I was thinking. If it is with her mother, maybe the she's half human, half witch.
So it could be that, or maybe it's half. Or maybe they're going to bring in a Paige type character and make it like a half white lighter, half witch type of character. I mean, it could be whatever. I mean, introducing any new.
Well, I mean, they had that with Jada, and I think that would be really funny if you find out that Jada was actually Abigail's sister because she was adopted.
That's the thing, right? A lot of people are trying to think about who, if it's an existing character,
it would either be Jada or Ruby.
You had said who?
Ruby or Jada.
Now, my guess was Swan.
Yeah, well, I think Swan is the ultimate evil. Like I've been saying that since day one. She is too peppy. One day she's gonna, because you know how they all just like talk to Swan and they just brush her off all the time. And one day they're gonna come back and she's like, "I'm the real source." I'm like, "I'm the conqueror."
If you wanted to go that route, Swan could be kind of a like a Jar Jar Binks sort of thing, where the original idea was that it was this clumsy thing that you would never think is the bad guy, but he was supposed to end up being the bad guy. They scrapped that story after everybody hated him, but it was actually supposed to be that he was supposed to be a dark Sith Lord, which I love that idea. I'm sad that they didn't follow through with that idea, because honestly, it would have made the beginning annoyingness pay off bigger. If you remove that, it's like, oh no, he really was just annoying. Anyway, but that's kind of how I feel about Swan, because whenever anything is happening at safe place, safe space, that's like it's happening, like she's there for it, like
all the time.
There. Like it's almost like it's attracted to her, and maybe that's because she's got some witch blood or something in her that she just is.
I like that idea. And then think about this. What if we're seeing this all wrong? What if she's actually an elder?
She could be an elder.
Because all like Celeste survived, and she could have been another elder that wasn't tattered to a white lighter, and she hid.
Yeah.
Because there's no way she didn't see them going down those damn stairs to the command center all those times with all those logins when she's the one that signs out the keys. I'm sorry.
Well, and that's the question, right? Is like, because when they got there, she was already there.
Yep.
So it would make sense that there would be a witch or two. Like, so the charmed ones are the only ones who found the safe space secret place. Like, that seems odd to me. Like, when the elders were all being murdered, none of them went to the safe space place. Like, I think Swan could be an elder. I think that's a great theory that I didn't even think of. But
I think that would be amazing, because I think just having her reveal herself one day and be like, I've been watching you guys, and
exactly.
you've been effing up a lot. I've been having to clean up a lot of stuff behind the scenes that you guys never thought of. I've been erasing people's minds. There's a reason you didn't need a social security card.
Yes.
I knew who you were. I'm HR. I'm freaking HR. I knew who you were. I'm not stupid.
Oh my gosh. No. If the writers are watching this, make Swan in on it and make that the reason that all these little quibbly things that we keep complaining about, that solves it all. Make that happen in the show, please, writers. Because then
Swan for elder. Hashtag Swan for elder. We just solved your problem.
No one can complain after you reveal this.
Yep. Whew, that was a lot of talking. I'm tired, aren't you? But before you leave me to head over to the Turnouts channel for the rest of this video, if you would like to sign up for jury duty, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to know who's next on the nerd ballot, hit the notification bell. Until next time, I can't wait for you to approach the nerd. Bye, guys. Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it, but hey, the party doesn't have to stop now. Click on one of these videos and keep it going.